How and why did this occur? For starters, the social upheaval and political rebellions of the 1960s led to growing public anxiety that crime and disorder had become common in America. People were on high alert. Crime rates were way up. Widely publicized FBI statistics announcing that every year between 1965 and 1969, the crime rate had risen by double digits fed public fears. Civil rights demonstrations, anti-war protests, political assassinations, and urban riots were all linked by the public to the rise in street crime. Many Americans had watched their cities burn in the violent urban riots. In 1965, 34 people were killed in the Los Angeles riot. In 1967, 43 were killed in Detroit, 23 in Newark. After Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination in 1968, more than 140 cities went up in flames and were looted. People were afraid to go for a walk after dark. Along with disparate crime rates, this forged a regrettable link between race and crime. African Americans, only 13% of the U.S. population, now comprise nearly half of the state and federal prison population. The Department of Justice estimated that a black male born in 2001 had nearly a 1 in 3 likelihood of serving prison time. The turbulent times and pervasive worries about escalating violence inflamed attacks on the Supreme Court's expansion of the constitutional rights of criminal defendants. The Warren Court had affirmed the rights of indigent criminal defendants to counsel, made clear that suspects could maintain their silence and have an attorney present during police questioning, insisted that suspects must be informed of their rights and affirmatively waive them before police interrogation, and excluded from criminal trials evidence that the police had obtained illegally. A large segment of the public had come to blame the Supreme Court for its plight. Politicians of both parties vilified the Supreme Court for being soft on crime and for elevating the rights of criminal defendants over those of the public and the police. In the 1968 campaign for president, George Wallace, the segregationist governor of Alabama, stoked public fears about crime. "Crime has risen in our country at an astronomical rate," he frequently said, "and the court system has ruled that you can hardly convict a criminal. If you are knocked on the head on a street in a city today, the man who knocked you in the head is out of jail before you get to the hospital." Richard Nixon also exploited the crime issue during his 1968 presidential campaign. Recognizing that crime had become the public's top domestic concern, Nixon frequently stressed his commitment to law and order. He gave numerous speeches devoted to that subject, married public fears to rising crime statistics, and insisted that freedom from fear was a basic right of every American. Nixon harshly criticized the Warren Court for coddling criminals and hindering law enforcement. He insisted that the time had come for soft-headed judges and probation officers to show as much concern for the rights of innocent victims of crime as they do for the rights of convicted criminals. Together, Nixon and Wallace secured 57% of the votes that year. Democrats soon refused to concede the law and order issue to Republicans. A bidding war began over who could be tougher. President Nixon promised the public both a different Attorney General and a new Supreme Court. He appointed his former law partner and campaign director, John Mitchell, to replace Ramsey Clark as Attorney General. Ironically, Mitchell would subsequently be convicted of crimes in office. Then, in 1969, Nixon named Warren Burger to succeed Earl Warren. Burger had come to Nixon's attention through Burger's harsh statements about inordinate protection of criminal defendants and his criticisms of Supreme Court decisions restricting the police and prosecutors. While serving on the Federal Appellate Court in Washington, D.C., Burger, in May 1967, delivered the commencement address at Ripon College in Wisconsin. He limited his remarks to one problem, one